All right, let's walk through a demo of ProcessKit. My name is Brian Castle, and I'll be happy to walk you through how things fit together here. Now, if you have any questions about ProcessKit or you need a little bit of help while you're getting your new account set up, feel free to send those along. Once you're inside of ProcessKit, you'll see this contact form where you can reach me and my team, and we'll be happy to help pretty quickly. Now, when you first log in, you're going to see this screen, which helps you get up and running quickly and easily. You can start with one of our templates, and these give you fully built out process templates along with a board to run these. So we've got popular ones like new customer onboarding and a hiring process and podcast production. Or you can build from scratch, and we've got a simple 1, 2, 3 process which will help you start to build out your very first process template, just by adding some basic steps, and then it will help you configure a board to run it. But now let's walk through what ProcessKit looks like when it's really up and running with a lot of activity. So I'm going to start here under boards. Boards are places where you can manage and track all of your active projects, and each board sort of contains all the projects of a particular type, repeatable projects that look more or less the same from one to the next. Now you can name your boards whatever you want, and when you name them, you'll also be naming what each project inside a board should look like. So for example, let's look at the marketing campaigns board, and inside this board, every project, or every card if you will, we refer to as a campaign. That was customized. Let me back out and let's look at my podcast episodes board. And in this board, every project here is an episode. Now let's go into our new client onboarding board. And within this board, every project is called an onboarding. Now, as you can see, the board is laid out in a Kanban view. These are cards that you can drag along from one step to the next. You can customize these lists and their names. You can add more, remove some, or you can even switch over to a list view if you prefer that, and you can sort by different criteria. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a new onboarding, and I'm going to go to more settings, and we'll assume that we've already set up this client in ProcessKit with their information. So let's attach that client to this project. Now, if we wanted to, we could make a recurring project, for things that need to happen every week or every month, things like that. But in this case, it's just a one-off project that we want to create. So let's create that. Okay, so now here we are inside this project. This is the onboarding of a new client. And the first tab that we see here is the tasks. It gave us a task list that was built as a copy off of one of our process templates. This is a task list that we can start to check off. And we can even attach multiple task lists to the project. If we want a more compact view, we can toggle into that. Now, as you can see, members of my team have been automatically assigned to these tasks. Those assignments were built into the process template. And if we open up each step, we've got descriptions, instructions for the team to follow. You can even embed a video, and you can add what we call blocks. Typically, these are form fields. So as your team goes through the tasks, they can input data, and then you can actually use that data elsewhere. You can output data from form fields or from client attributes or anything else using liquid tags. We've got a lot of different blocks that you can add into your task lists. And most of the time you'll want to do this in your process template so that it just comes pre-filled with all the fields and all the instructions built into your process. The other thing you'll notice is that some of these tasks have dates. So if we open that up, every task can have a start date and or a due date. And these dates and times have been automatically calculated using date rules. So in this case, the start date starts immediately when the project starts, and then it would be due 3 days later. You can limit these to just weekdays and so on if you need to. And you can configure these date rules to be based on a number of different things, like when a previous task starts or when it was due, or even when another task was marked as complete. By doing that, you can hook together these dates one after another so that if this date changed or if the start or end date of the entire project gets pushed back, then all of the other dates can recalculate themselves automatically. Now let's take a look at the automation rules that you can build into your tasks and your process templates. So on every task, you can have a set of actions, visibility rules, and dependencies. So actions are things that will happen automatically when someone checks off this task. So you can send off a notification, or you can move that card in the Kanban view along automatically. You can apply another process to the current project. You can even send off a webhook if you're doing some custom integrations, or you can use those in Zapier. Visibility rules determine whether or not we should even show this task or not in this particular case. So you can have visibility rules based on a number of different criteria. For example, does the client have some attribute value? Like, is the client on our gold plan? If so, then we want to show this task or hide some other tasks. Or has another task become past due? If it has, then maybe we want to show a task where we need to follow up on something. And then dependency rules are similar to visibility, except they just determine whether or not you can check off a task or not. It might be waiting on other dependencies. Every task has a list of activity, and you can leave comments on the task. And when you mention someone, that person will get notified. Let's go over to details. So on the project itself, you can have a number of custom fields as well, and these fields are available to you in your tasks. And then in this case, we did attach one of our clients to this project. And so Dunder Mifflin is one of our clients, and so we have pulled in all of that client's information. We'll get to clients in just a minute. And then finally, you have activity on this project. That pulls in all of the activity across all the tasks, completions, comments that were left, and you can also leave comments here as well. All right, so let's back out to the board view again. And you can see on each of these cards, you can see the percentage completed that calculates together all the tasks within it. You can see when a project has a client attached along with their logo. If the project has a start and an end date, that'll display here as well. You can filter down this Kanban view by the client or by tags. And over here in onboarding template, that's where you can manage which processes or process templates should get automatically preloaded every time we create a new project within this board. And then the details determines which custom fields we want to automatically load in on every new project in this board. Okay, so that's boards and projects. That's where all of your active, repeatable projects and tasks are happening. Let's go over to processes. These are your process templates, and this is where you can manage your list of SOPs, standard operating procedures. As your list grows, you can group them into folders, or what we call groups, and you can filter the list down. And with every process template, it'll show you how many task lists are currently using a copy of that process template. So let's look at that new client onboarding process template. Now this will look very similar to what we were just looking at earlier in the project, except these are not actual tasks. This is just the templates. This is where you can manage creating all of the information, adding and removing steps. You can even drag and drop to reorder them. You can set up those people assignments. And if you have multiple people in each role, then you might want to use our dynamic roles system here. You can set up automation rules. You can set up those date rules that we discussed. All of that can be built into your process templates so that these processes are ready to go. Your workflows just sort of flow automatically every time you run the processes. Now, one of the really cool things about this is that as you make changes, as you make improvements to your processes, you can propagate all of those changes out. So if I go here, it's going to tell me that I have 9 active projects that are currently using copies of this process template. So when I click this button, all of my latest changes are going to be pushed out to all of those active projects. And that's not going to wipe out any of our progress or anything like that. It's just going to update those projects with the latest tasks and the latest details that I've built in. So that makes it really easy and seamless to continuously improve your processes without causing a lot of disruption for you and your team. All right, let's head over to clients. So this is your clients list. This is where you can store every client company information that you work with. So let's look at one of them. This first tab, details, this is where you can have a lot of custom attributes. So all of these fields are custom. They can be whatever you want. And you can store the client's contact information. You can store which service plan they've purchased from you, maybe some selectable options there, some special instructions, other options here. And all of these fields and values can be pulled in and displayed in your tasks dynamically using liquid tags. Now across the top here, you'll see some tabs. These actually correspond to your boards. So like that marketing campaigns board, we had campaigns. So this is going to list out all of the campaign projects that are for this client, for Dunder Mifflin. Over in our articles board, we had one project or one article for Dunder Mifflin. So this is kind of the place to show all the things that are happening for this particular client. You can also assign team members to work on a particular client, and you can put those team members into specific roles. That way, every time we do a project for Dunder Mifflin, then the designer role should assign this person and the manager should be this person. So that's our dynamic roles system in action there. And then finally, we'll go down to people. Team members are, your full team members in your ProcessKit account. Every team member can have different permission levels, giving them access to see or do different things. Your ProcessKit plan covers your first 3 team members, and then any additional people, your 4th person and up, increases your billing. And if we look at individual team members, you can see all of the projects and all of the tasks for this individual person sorted by start and due date. If it's yourself, then you might treat this as like your own personal task list. So you can actually check off tasks right from this view, or you can click into them. Also see which clients this person is on and all the activity that this person has done. Let's go back to people. And then let's talk about guests. Now, guests are much more limited, but you have unlimited guests that you can invite into your account. Guests are really great if you want to share access with clients or with a temporary freelancer or someone who doesn't need to be in your ProcessKit account every single day, but you might just have specific tasks or a group of tasks that you want to assign or share with a guest. Now let me show you how it works with a guest. Let me go back to boards, and let's go back to that new client onboarding board. And we'll open up that project that we had created, onboarding of a new client. And I'm going to go to tasks. Now, this 3rd task list, which I called gathering information, this task list or this process is actually intended to be shared with one of our clients. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to task list settings and I'm going to share with guests. And I've already invited this guest to some previous stuff. I'm going to invite them again. Now, adding them here, that's not going to automatically send them an email. We don't want to, send emails off to clients, that you haven't intended to do. You'll manage that yourself. And then you'll also need to assign the guest to the individual tasks that you want them to see. Guests will not automatically see every task in a project. You just want to have full control over exactly which tasks that guest can see. Now, if I wanted to, I could have actually assigned that guest in bulk to all the tasks in this list. Now, when I'm ready to share this with my guest, I can go here and I can copy the share link. I'm going to click that. That's going to copy a special shareable link to my clipboard. And I'm going to open up a new browser. This is as if I'm sending this link off to a client, and then they click the link in the email. Once they click it, they come straight into ProcessKit. They did not have to log in or accept an invite or set their password or anything like that. They just come straight into this view, seeing exactly the task list that I have shared with them. They can check these off, but they can also open them up and see the details. Maybe I'm asking them to fill in a form. They can fill in these values and whatnot. And guests can also leave a comment on the task. Now, jumping back over to our view internally, if I refresh, you can see that this has been checked off by the guest. And if I go to the comments, this is the comment that came in from the guest. Now, looking again at what the guest sees, the guests actually get their own guest dashboard. So this is good if it's somebody who does need to, repeatedly come back into ProcessKit and see several task lists that you've shared with them, or get a handle on all the individual tasks that you've shared with them. They won't see complete projects. They won't see the entire boards or anything, but they'll just see the specific tasks that you've shared with them. So again, this is good if they're a client or if they're just a temporary contractor or someone like that. So that's an overview of ProcessKit. Again, the best way to get started is to use that builder. You can immediately pull in one of our templates, which will set you up with a process template and a board all pre-configured for you, along with some custom fields. Or you can start to build from scratch. That'll get you started on building out your process templates and adding a few steps, and then it'll configure a board for you. And again, if you have any questions along the way, just hop down here. You can ask a question through this form, or you can go to Docs, and this is where every feature in ProcessKit is documented, and you'll find videos on most of them, and you can search for anything in there. Oh, and one more thing, we have a really good Zapier integration if you need to integrate ProcessKit with any of your other tools. So you can find that by going up to Integrations, and this link will take you to ProcessKit on Zapier, and you'll want to use this API key or your own API key when you're integrating ProcessKit with your other tools. Any questions, let us know. Thanks.